Hi guys, this is Sai Kumar Kortiwada. In this video, we will talk about reusability and commonizing of the code. So we have completed most of our Angular project. Now we will target on the reusability. Why we are targeting for reusability? In general, we need this reusability because writing same lines of code lot of times in your application will be increasing your bundle size. So it is not always recommended for us. So that's why what we can do is we can reuse some set of functions or some set of logics which are written multiple times. For example, in this particular application, we have written that snack bar a number of times and we are using that snack bar logic in our code lot of times, and we are trying to implement in each and every component. Instead, we will be writing once and utilizing them lot of times. That is what Angular is mainly used for and single page application is mainly used for. So reusability is one of the core mechanism for us. For making that reusability, I want to commonize this code. These are the two places which we will target for today, where we will be using the confirmation pop-up as reusability, and the second one is snack bar as a reusability. So let me quickly jump into Visual Studio Code and we will complete this reusability and commonization part. Let me go here and let me go into our first case, that is nothing but our confirmation. So we have a confirmation component .ts, and if you see this is already an individual component, but what we can reduce here. So let me highlight this so that you got this confirmation component and you are using this confirmation component in many places, and let me show you that places. First thing is confirmation component for spec, we don't want that, and confirmation component itself we don't want that. We have four other places which we have to implement this. So now what I want to do is, you have this dialog component, and if you see this dialog component, we have lot of content over here. That means we are using this dialog open and we are passing the component. We have min width, maximum width, everything we have. And if you see here, the confirmation component again we have used in the notes with the same min width and same disable. So most of the properties are same. So what I want to do over here is I want to convert this into a reusable service. So we are using this dialog and we are injecting this dialog everywhere. So instead of doing that, I'll make some minification on this particular component. So what is that minification? Let me create one service for this confirmation component and let me open my terminal. Now what I want to do is I want to go into the services. Already we have some set of services. What I'll do is I'll create one service called as common service. So let me create the ng generate service, and the service name is confirmation service, and I don't want to use spec files, so I'm just skipping the test files. Skip tests, enter. So now it created a confirmation service. So it has created at a root level. So let me move this into our services. Now I have moved this into confirmation service into our service layer. So what this service layer will do is it is responsible for opening that confirmation pop-up. So let me create a public and show confirmation. This is my method name and it should not return anything. So what I'll do is I'll create this show confirmation, and whenever I open this show confirmation, I have to use whole this content. Let me first target for nodes. So let me copy this and put it over here. So now what are the dependencies for us? Let me close this, and we have a dialog dependency. Let me go here and search for dialog. So we have this dialog. Let me copy this dialog, or just you can cut also if you want, but for now I'm just copying this and putting inside my constructor. So this is my mat dialog. Let me import this, and this is my confirmation component. Let me import this. Now we are using default as 400 pixel. So what I'll do is, if you want to pass this min width externally, we can pass it, and disable close we can pass it, but default is fine. So what I'll do is, first thing, this data whatever we are showing here, that is very important. For that sake, what I'll do is I'll create a title which is of string. We want this title externally because it will not be same always, and a message again here also it is a string which should be coming from external part. And now what I want to do is I want to pass this buttons. So buttons is something which we are passing externally again, and it is an array, So let me create an interface bit later. So these are the three important things which we want to pass, and the remaining things are not mandatory. So what I'll do is I'll make it as config, and I will create an any. So this is an optional case. So if you get this config with a min width, if you see here, this open has two parameters. One is mat dialog config. So let me copy this dialog config and put it over here. So this configuration can be anything. So inside this data, we can pass this configuration. Now what I'll do is I don't want to pass this config with a min width, then don't pass it. Simple to say. So I have min width, copy and paste, so that if this configuration contains the min width, then show that config min width. Show this config min width, else the default one. In the same way, let me copy this and put it over here. If you pass this disable close, then pass it and then pass it, else true. That's it. And now we have the title. Title is mandatorily we have to pass for it because we need the title. So let me pass this, and we need the message. Let me pass this. And coming to the buttons, we have to config. So we have to pass an array, but it should have a label, it should have a callback, and it should have a color. So what I'll do is I'll create an interface for this. Interface I button, and this button should have a label which is a string again, and we should have a callback. Callback may be an optional, and this should be something like void, which should not return anything. And then we should have something called as delete, that is label color, and the color can be anything. So let me use this color as string, which is again optional. Why I'm making this color as an optional is if you pass that color, it will visible. Otherwise we will make the default color as primary. So now instead of doing this, what I can do is I can make this as a string and primary as a default. So now we are passing this interface, which is again a string, and I think we don't want this primary. So we have created this interface. If you are passing that color, it will show that color. Otherwise it will be going into the default one. And this button should be I button format. So now these buttons can be buttons. And this is an object. Hence you no need to use or assign explicitly. This is JavaScript strategies where if your key and the value are same, no need to pass anything. Let me save this. And what is the advantage of doing this? The advantage of doing this is you will be calling this show confirmation from any place, and in the future if you want to change the dialog configurations, then you can change here directly without impacting anything. So now what I'll do is I'll use this show confirmation wherever we are using this particular dialog open. So what I'll do is export. Now I am exporting this, and I am using this I buttons with an array format. Now we should create this I buttons in our nodes itself. So let me go here. We are giving an opportunity to create for this buttons. Why? Because the buttons may have different callbacks. So we can replicate it very simple. So what we'll do is we have these buttons. Let me cut these buttons and put it over here as a separate variable. Now what I'll do is I'll make it as equal to, this is an array, and instead of using this dialog, what I'll do, I'll just use that particular confirmation service. So instead of dialog, I'll use confirmation service colon confirmation service. So this is my service. Let me copy this service and go down. Instead of using this complete dialog, what I'll do is I'll just pass this confirmation service and show confirm. Instead of passing all these values, what I can do is I can just pass the title like this. Just copy this title and put it over here as a first parameter, and the second parameter is a message. Let me copy this message and put it over here, and the third is buttons. So this is my buttons. And now the configuration here, we are not using any new configuration. It is similar configuration. So what I'll do is I'll just remove this configuration part, and that's it. In single line we have created our show confirmation, and this show confirmation will be calling this service, and inside this service it will assign all the values to this particular dialog, and it opens the dialog. Let's test that in our nodes component, and then we will change in all the remaining places. And if you want to strictly type these buttons, you can use here I buttons, which is an array format, and import it. So let me save this and go to the code. Now we are going into my nodes, that is nodes, all the nodes. Here we have dialog that which a delete. You can see delete confirmation. Are you sure you want to delete? So that is where we have implemented now. In the same way, you can implement at any places. So let me close this. And before closing, I'll just remove unwanted imports. Always it is recommended to remove all the unwanted imports. Now I have removed all the unwanted imports, and now let me close this. Now the second step, let me go for the search, and the confirmation component is used in our notes module. So now this notes module doesn't require this confirmation component. Let's try it out. Let me comment this, save this, and go here and click on delete. You are able to see, and if you see the inspect, you are not having any of the problem. You can see here, this is something related to the question mark. We will fix that. Whenever we see these warnings also, we should fix it. We will fix it later. And now you are not having any errors over here. So that means no need of using this confirmation component. Let me clean this and clear this. Save this and save this. Now let me go into our user defined components. Inside the user defined components, we are injecting it, and if you see this, it is a standalone. So let me remove here also. But before removing these places, what we'll do is we will complete our open dialog opening part. So this is the only place which we are using dialog open again. So what I'll do is, instead of using all this, it is very simple again. Let me cut these buttons and put it over here. Const buttons is equal to these buttons, and we have something like :I buttons from confirmation service, and now these buttons we have to pass it. So here what we will do, we have this title. Let me copy this title and put it in the first parameter. But before doing that, we don't need to use dialog service. Now instead of using the dialog service, we have to use another service that is nothing but confirmation service. So let me copy this confirmation service, put it over here, and the method is show confirmation. So here we don't have the component, but we have this particular title, and let me put the message and then buttons. So we have the buttons also, and this buttons should be equal to this buttons, and we don't have this. There is some problem. Let's see what's the problem here. So we have the buttons in an array format. Okay, so it should be an array format. Yeah, save this. Now this is done. So here what we are doing, we are using this confirmation for logout. So let me remove the unwanted imports. This is not required, not required, and not required, and not required. Save this. Now we have created the logout with the buttons, and just we are passing to the confirmation service. Let me go here, and now let me go and click on logout. You can see, you are able to see that logout. Let me close and go to the another places where we are using it. So one is the spec file. So let me go into our confirmation component and remove that spec file. It is not needed for us. So let me delete it. Now I have deleted the spec file. Now you can see we have only at two places. One is user defined and one is at the confirmation. In the user defined, are we using this user defined first thing? Let's check that. User defined module. So let me copy this module name and search. So we are using in our app module, let it be. But actually speaking, this confirmation component is a standalone. So no need to use this particular user defined also. Let me remove it from this. That means let me go into user defined and just delete this. I don't want to use this user defined now. Just for confirmation we are using. So I removed it, and we don't want this user defined now. And we don't want this user defined. Let me save this, go here and check inspect, no problem. So let me click on this. You can see it has opened. So it is a standalone component. We are not registering anywhere, and it is directly used in the service. So no need to register also. So that's how the standalone components helps us a lot. So let me format this and save this. Now we are done with the confirmation component, and if you see this confirmation component, that means let me go into our confirmation component, and this component is used inside the confirmation service. So here this service is using this confirmation component, where this confirmation component is used only at the service and at the component level of itself. That means we are using only at two places. That is the biggest benefit. Now you are using a standalone and you are using a service. Now what I want to do is I want to change a bit structure. So here we are putting all the services inside here itself, but this is a common component. Let's move all that into a particular folder. What I want to do is this is a component and we are using like a service. This is for business logic service. Now what I'll do is I'll create one more folder inside the common. We are creating one more folder, new folder, and the folder is components as service. This is my folder because I want to move all my components which are like a service into this, and only individual components I'll use inside this components, but a component which is opened via service, that will be placed inside our components as service. So this is my suggestion to use, but it's up to you how you want to use. So let me pull all this into component as service and I'm moving it. So I'm using always update my imports. So automatically it updates all my places wherever we are using, and just save this, save all and save this. Now we have component as a service, and inside this we have confirmation, and inside this we have HTML, CSS and TS. But if you see here, this service folder we are using for business logic. That means we are communicating with APIs, but in this confirmation service we are not communicating with APIs. Let me push into our confirmation folder. So let me move it to confirmation folder. Yes. So also update the remaining places. So let me save all. So now what we did, we have created our component and we have a service, and this component will invoke only with this service. So it's absolutely fine, and we can use this component as service wherever we have a component, and that component will be opened or invoked by using the service. So now the second thing what we were doing is about snack bar. So let me close all. If you see, there is a snack bar for us. I'll use mat snack bar. Yeah. If you see here, we are injecting in this many components, and we are injecting each and every service, and we are writing some sort of logic over there. If you see here, we have mat snack bar service, and if you see, we have show snack bar with same default configurations. If you search with this particular code, this many components are there, and in other places also we are using snack bar. So I want to avoid this snack bar and I want to create a separate service for this. So here also snack bar is an internal service, and we are opening it with a message and a content, and we are passing the directions. Now what I want to do over here, if you see this open, it has a message, the message to show to the snack bar. So it is a normal service, but internally it's a toast message, which is a component which is invoked by a service. So what I'll do is just I'll create one more folder inside this, that is nothing but toast as per our standards. Snack bar is as per material. We can also call it as toast messages. So let me click toast messages, and this toast messages requires one service, just one service. So let me go and create that service. So what I'll do is I'll just create that service. Instead of going cd dot dot and cd space, what I'll do is I'll create a service here, that is nothing but a snack bar, and hit enter. So it will be creating at a root level. So here it has been created. So let me move into our toast service. So now it is inside the snack bar service, and if you want to rename, it's up to you. Toast service is also fine. So what I'll do is I'll make this as toast service better, just to avoid the confusion between Angular material and our code. Let me go with toast.service.ts. So this is my toast service. What this service will do is it will have a method, the same like whatever we are using in the dashboard. Show snack bar. It is something like a show snack bar. Let me copy this snack bar and put it over here. Now we are using a show snack bar, but I want to make it as public. So we have to get this dependency also. Already we have here in our constructor. Let me copy this and put it over here, save this and import it. So now we have mat snack bar, and I'm using this snack bar to open. So here already we have message, content and duration, which can be configured from the caller or from the sender. So who is the sender here? Dashboard will be the sender. So first thing what I will do is I'll remove this part. Now we are ready to use that show snack bar. Instead of show snack bar, what I'll make it is open toast. Let me copy this and use it. So how to use it? We have to inject our toast service first. So let me go into the dashboard and inject my toast service and import it. So let me import this toast service. Now this toast service I can use wherever I want. So here we are using only one. So let me use open toast, and the configuration is same, open toast. Done. Save this. And also here this dot toast service dot open toast. Save this. So now we are using this toast service and remove all the unwanted imports. Let me save this, and now this is done in the dashboard. In the same way, we have at many places. If you see this notes, here we have a snack bar service, right? So let me copy this snack bar and put it over here. Again, we have a show snack bar. So instead of changing at each and every place, what we can do is we can do one more thing. Here also we can call that particular service, but if we call here, again we are creating a bulk of content. That means again we are passing as a parameter, this should pass to another one. So I don't want to do that. Instead I'll change this snack bar service itself. So snack bar service, let me make this snack bar service as a toast service and copy this, put it over here, make it a small letter. Now this toast service is ready. So wherever it is breaking, so what we'll do is we will use that service name. So let me remove this. Now you will be seeing all the errors wherever we are using here. So this dot toast service dot open toast and remove this show snack bar. Save and go to other places as well. Here we are using this dot toast service dot open toast and remove this. So what I'll do is just I'll copy this and put it over here and here. We have reduced a lot of code. If you see, for example, in this case we have a snack bar service. We are writing 5 lines for each component. That means we are writing 5 lines for each component. If you write for 10 components, then it is 10 into 5, 50 lines. So we are reducing that 50 lines, and in the future you may be increasing this usage and you will be increased with all the data stuff over there. So I am reducing it. Now remove the unwanted code, save this. Now this is done. Notes, and let me go here. We have notes details. So let me go into the snack bar. First remove this so that you will see the errors. Toast service, and this is my toast service over here with a T as small, and just come down and remove the main function. So this is my main function. If you see 125 to 132, it is taking around 7 lines. So let me remove this and use this show snack bar in a different manner, like toast service dot open toast. And what I'll do, I'll just copy this toast service dot open toast and replace this one with this one and this one and this one here as well. Save this. Now notes details is done. Let me go with another one. Notes details import. Remove this unwanted code. Go here, unwanted code, and go here. Just remove this into toast service, and here it is toast service again. Copy this and put it over here. T as small. And now what we will do is we will be creating our snack bars. Here you can see in the starting we have not used even a common method. Here we are using a common method. Now this is somewhat bit tricky to manage, so we have to control this by manual process. Open toast off, we have to copy this too. Cut it, put it over here and just remove this. In the same way, let me copy this semicolon and copy this, put it over here and just pass this. Just remove the comma and remove this. If you see in this file itself, we are using 15 lines of code. We reduced into 3 lines. That 15 lines we converted into 3 lines by using this toast service. So let me copy and paste here. Remove this comma, just remove this. So we are done with the profile component as well, and details component. Let me go here, save this. If you see this details component, we are having the show snack bar problem. We have to solve this. So here we removed, but we didn't updated our code. So what I'll do is, first thing is constructor, and let's take this toast service and use wherever we have. So instead of this, what I'll do is I'll copy paste and I'll highlight that A and B 5 times we are using, and I want to replace with this dot toast service. That is nothing but, let me write for one, toast service dot open toast, and just copy this, put it over here and just replace. Save this, and I think we are done here. Okay, let me close this and go to the search. We have again at reset password. So just understand, if we are using this many times and if we are trying to change this many times, that is very, very hard. But for example, if UI comes in picture, that means they have changed some UI, then we have to change all the places. Now instead of doing all the places, we can change it, that service layer, automatically it works. So that is where the reusability shows its power. So toast service again, and here it is toast service. Copy this and put it over here with the toast service. Now what we'll do, this toast service I have to use, and let me remove this. So we have a show snack bar, same thing, control F, or let me use this show snack bar and replace it with toast service. Replace all and save this. Now done, and remove all unwanted code or unwanted imports. Now let me go here, last two we have. So what I'll do is, to make it very easy, let me copy this and directly go here, paste it here, and comma we have here, let me paste it here. Now we have this toast service imported, and now we can just replace like this. So before doing that, we have, oh, okay, here also we are using normal way. In the starting how we used, here we are having 10 lines. Instead of doing that, what I'll do is just copy this, put it over here off, and cut this, put it over here, remove it, semicolon, and just copy this, put it over here, pass this values, and then snack bar service again. And now let me remove this response which is not used. Okay, and just go to the login, and here also let me import it. Now let me use that. Here also we are using 5 lines of code in a normal way. So toast service dot open toast of this part, copy and put it over here, semicolon, and let me remove this. Done. Save and open your terminal, check any problem. I think one problem we have at admin view profile. So here also we are having a snack bar. Let me change this dot toast service dot open toast of, we need to pass this whole part, paste it, semicolon, and remove it. Let me go up. I think here also we have this dot toast service dot open toast, and pass this two values, paste, semicolon, and just remove it. Now let me go up. Done. Save this. So here we have one more problem. These are the warnings which are shown in the console. So we will solve this whenever we are testing and we are solving all the problems. Okay. So let me save this. Now everything is working fine. Let's test this. So here, for example, what we can do is, let me go into edit part, and in testing description, tested, and let me click on update notes. So now you can see notes updated successfully and cross button. If you observe, this cross button is also common everywhere. So let's make that as well. What I'll do is, just I'll copy this comma, cross button, and overall search. Okay, so these are all the places which we can replace. But before doing that, open toast, I'll make this as default cross. So by default we have a cross button over here. So I think we can replace this directly with empty. And now save this all. Save all, already done. And let me check the cross icon also, because there may be no space, but nowhere we have. So everything is done. Let me go into our registration and check one of this toast service. You can see here toast service. Now, so if you see here, we are using a toast service at many places. Toast service, and also confirmation also we are using at 2 places, but in future we may be using at lot of places, and that doesn't have any of the UI. Actually speaking, they are the logics. So whenever you want to use a common logics in other components, then you can create a class and you can inherit that class into our component, because internally a class is a component is also a class which can extend another class. So what I'll do is, I'll just create one class. So here this is a common thing, and let me go into utils. If you want to create at utils also, you can create. That is nothing but base class dot ts. I'll create a base class, and now I'll export this base class by using class keyword. Base class. Why I'm using class is, I just want to differentiate the component versus class. So let me save this. Now we can inject this base class and we can utilize all the benefits of this base class. That means the variables, methods, whatever exposed by this base class, I can use in my child classes. First thing, we will target for one component. The best component is notes component. So that is notes details. Notes details dot component dot ts. What I'll do is, instead of using the toast service here, I'll make use of this inside base class and I'll utilize that in our component. So let me close this and just copy this, or just copy this part and put it over here. So now I want to put this inside the constructor, cut this and put it over here. So now what happens? Let me import this. Save this. Now we have a base class with this toast service. I'll make it as public because I want to use in other classes as well. Let me save this. Now here I'll just remove this toast service and I'll extend this base class. So I have extended this base class. Now I can use the toast service inside this, but there is an error. If you see, constructors for derived classes must contain a supercall. So if you are aware of inheritance, then you should know about this superclass as well. If I get a chance to create a TypeScript series, then I'll explain you about the inheritance. For now, think that whenever you are extending a class, then you should have a super keyword. But whenever you are creating a super keyword, you have to pass all the dependencies for that particular constructor. If you go here, you have a constructor and this constructor have this dependency. That means again you have to create this dependency here and you have to pass it like this. But that is not recommended because again you are injecting that service. So if you are injecting that service again, that is not a way how we want to use it. So instead of this before 16 or before using an inject method, we have this problem. But now we are using an inject method. Instead of using inside the constructor, I can use something like inject is equal to inject of. I can just cut this and put it over here and just remove this. Now we are using this toast service, and if you go to the super, it is not throwing any error because you have a constructor with 0 parameters. So now if you have the constructor with 0 parameters, then no need to pass the dependencies, and this inject method helps us to inject our service into this particular base class. Now what you can do is, if you see the toast service, whatever you are using over here, that is not giving any error. Let me go here and just try to update the nodes. You can see nodes updated successfully. The toast message you are using working as expected. Now in the same way, whatever the common logic you have, you can put in your base class, and that base class can be extended to your child classes. So here also we made a reusability. Instead of injecting in every constructor or every component, we are injecting at one place and utilizing in remaining places. So what I'll do is, for confirmation also we can use the same thing. Now let me go here. First we'll target for toast service, search for all toast service, and what I can do is I can just use this base class and I can just remove all the places. So let me go to this search and the toast service. This is my service class and this is my base class. This is my dashboard. So let me remove this and let me remove this and use extends base class. And if you observe, we are using the router also at many places. So what I'll do is I'll inject this router also. It would be easy. So instead of private, I'll make it as public and equal to inject of router, and then let me make it as equal to. That's it. Now you can remove router also. So you can remove the router, you can remove toast. So let me go here, and the router also I have removed. So remove this. Now let me go here to the toast service, remove this, go to the dashboard. You have a problem because we have to use a super keyword. It will create a constructor for our base component, and save this. Now let me go into our toast service again, just remove this toast and router, and we have confirmation as well. Now we got the confirmation. Let me go here and put that confirmation here. So public confirmation service is equal to inject of confirmation service. Save this. Now you can remove the confirmation also. Let me remove the confirmation part and extends base class and give a super keyword. It could be a bit confusing, but it is very useful for us because we are removing most of the dependencies. So let me remove this and also router, and then I can use an extends base class and save this a super keyword, and the super keyword should be the first line of your constructor inside the constructor. Let me format save and go to this. So let me remove toast and router, and now let me go into extends base class. Until you extend this base class, your toast message will be a problem. I'll show you in the next file. Save this and go to your toast service, remove toast and router, save this. Now go to toast service again. Here we don't want match snack bar, let me remove, and here we don't want this too, let me remove, and we have extends base class. And if you see here, if I remove, let me add the super as well. So super keyword. And now if you remove this extents, automatically if you see the those services and router, it is giving problem because we are using the base class and we are getting all that dependent values. So let me go here, just remove this those service and router. Now save this. Go here to the those service again, just remove this those service and extends base class. And now let me add a super keyword and save this. Now there is some flower base missing over here. Okay, let me remove this, add the extends keyword with the base class and save this. Now add the super key, save this. Now let me remove this toast service. And now we have only two files where we are using the toast service, and let's talk about the confirmation as well wherever we are using. Let me go into our base class and check for the confirmation service where we are using it. So we are using here and here. So at the top bar also we are using the confirmation and router. Let me remove this too and just extend the base class. Extends base class and add a super queue. Save and go to the confirmation service here and remove this service. Go here to the service and here also we are not using it. Let me remove and let me remove this. Save this. So let me save all the files once and go back. So now we have one problem here. Router is private in the type node details. So we have some problem with the node details. Let me open this and go here into the node details, and here we should not use this private because we are already getting it from base component. And what this error refers is we are using a private router inside our constructor and there we are using a public, so it is conflicting both of them. So now we have completed all our reusability logic, and if you see the components, they are very less size. That means each and every component looks very small. If you go to the dashboard, now the constructor, if you see the constructor, we have only two services which are injected. And one more thing you have to remember is you may be getting a doubt like why we are not putting this user service and node service inside our base class. Why? Because in all the cases we may not use user service and node service. They are not common. Wherever we need it, we will utilize them. So that's why we are not using them. But whatever the common parts we have, we are putting inside our base class. And you may be getting a question like we can use the forms as well. So even you can use the forms as well. But the problem is forms is not always used in all the components. That's why I'm not using here. Forms is used notes details and we have used in registration and login. If you want to keep that form builder inside your base class, it's up to you. We can even keep that in our base component and utilize from there. So if you want to make that, I would like to make now itself. So it is very simple. Let me get that form builder, and this is my form builder. We can remove this form builder also now by using and injecting this particular value inside our base. So let me go into base class and put your injection over here with a private. Instead of private, we need to make it as a public and inject it. So now whenever you start injecting this particular one, you can use this service in your base component directly. So let me give semicolon and save this, but you will be getting a lot of errors. Let's resolve all the errors. Let me go here and just remove this form builder in the registration. Already we have injected in our base class. Let me remove this as well and save this. Let me go into another one, login, or just go directly here. Remove this and go here, remove it. So we have removed most of the places. Let me save all the files and see why do we have any errors. No, it compiled successfully. So let me format this, and if you see we have some unused imports, so let me check that as well. So this is not this is needed in base, but it is not needed here, and router is also not needed. Go here, router is also not needed. Go here and then remove this builders. Let me save this and file, save all, and go here. You can see everything is working as expected. Let me go to the dashboard, notes, reset password and profile. So now everything is working as expected. So we have made most of the commonizing of this stuff, and if you really want to ask some questions, please ask me in the comment section. I'll try to explain you in the comments. Most of the folks are trying to ask me with different questions, and I like the way how they ask me. and I respond to them. If I am not able to respond in the comments and give the solution in the comments, I can make some videos for you. Hope you like my explanation. If you like my video, like, share, subscribe to my channel for more updates. Signing off. Thank you. In the upcoming video, what we'll do is we will try to test the application. If we find any bugs, we will try to fix it, and we will wrap up this particular series. So that's it for this video.